Last time we left off on how getting older doesn't mean time has run out. And that somehow this feeling that it's impossible to make it when that 2 changes to a 3 is mostly in our heads and about our mindset and our perspective. And today we have someone very special here. We have the creator of Labubus here. Just kidding. But I have something even better. I have friends. 1, 2, 3, 4 Labubus here to tell the story with me of the creator of Labubus, Kasing Lung. And I hope I do it justice because making it at 50 years old is so inspiring.
It's tea time with Janice.
So by now, you probably know what Labubus are, or you have heard of them, or at least seen them. And if you haven't, it's probably also your first day on social media. So welcome to the internet, and these are Labubus. I think everyone has the same initial reaction. Like, why are these trending? Why are these on every designer bag? Why are these going for over $10,000 on eBay? They're kind of ugly. And I had all of those thoughts too. But if you stare at them long enough, they're kind of cute. And then you're like, okay, I want one, but it's probably $100, so maybe I don't want one. And then you find out that it's only $28, so you're like, okay, I'm gonna try to get one. But then you realize that it's actually impossible to get your hands on one. And instead of feeling discouraged, you're hooked. Especially me, when I see the last thing at anywhere, even the grocery store, or there's a long line forming somewhere, I have to get it, or I at least have to see what it's all about. And I think a lot of people call this being a follower, but I call it curiosity and persistence and determination, because that is how I landed with 4 Labubus today. Well, 3 because 1 is visiting, 1 belongs to my sister, but I actually had a whole set of them. And being the good sister, daughter, granddaughter I am, I shared. I gave 1 to my sister, 2 to my mother, and 1 to my grandmother. And now it's your turn to be honest with me. When did you know about Labubus? If I'm being real, it's only been a year since I found out about them. And with all the hype around them now, I would probably say that Labubus have been around for 2 to 3 years. When do you think Labubus were first created? I obviously know the answer because I did the research. Whatever your answer is, I am willing to bet that it is not 10 years. Labubus have been around for 10 years. Kasing Lung created the first Labubus in 2015 at the age of 43. And I would say that he's only recently made it on the mainstream level. So if you do the math and you account for all the trendsetters that assume they know things before the hype comes, I would say that Labubus probably only became well known around 2 to 3 years ago, and that Kasing Lung was around 50 at this time of his career when he took off at the mainstream level. And I think making a global name for yourself at the age of 50 is so inspiring because he also has a daughter in middle school right now. And remember what I said last episode about how I think it's really inspiring when people that have more on the line and more responsibility and more reality to consider can face that and take that leap of faith. This is exactly the story. So I've read about 8 articles on Kasing Lung, and there isn't a lot of detail about the timeline between his childhood and when he won his first illustration award in 2011, but I do know he was born in Hong Kong in 1972, and at a young age, him and his family moved to the Netherlands. Now, growing up in the Netherlands, he didn't have a computer or a gaming console or anything, so he loved to paint and draw fairy tales. especially the ones about ancient European elves. So now you can start to see where his inspiration of Labubus came from with their sharp, pointy ears, a little mischievous grin, but also looking kind of sweet and innocent. But from my understanding, Kasing Lung wasn't drawing or illustrating Labubus until 2015. So before that, he was a children's book illustrator and he won a few awards in illustration. Actually, fun fact, the first Chinese illustration book he published was in 2013 in Taiwan. That has nothing to do with the awards he won, but I look for every excuse to bring Taiwan up because I'm Taiwanese and I'm just so proud of Taiwan and I love it so much, so I want to share it. Hence my sweater, which I also love. Represent. Go Taiwan. Taiwan Formosa. Taiwan will touch your heart. Okay, that's the song on the airplane you hear before the customs declaration when you land in Taiwan. Anyways, I was curious what he was drawing before Labubus or if he'd just been secretly drawing Labubus his whole life. And I was able to find the first book he published in Taiwan, which is called My Little Planet. And the illustration is not a Labubu, it's a human boy. I can kind of see the same style in the nose of the boy. The nose reminds me of the secret brown Labubu's nose. Wow. I sound so well versed on Labubus. This is crazy. Okay, I'll leave a picture. I'll leave a picture in the video so you guys can see if I actually know what I'm talking about. But then in 2014, he drew for this famous author in her book called Lizzie Will Danson. And now you can see the Labubu forming. Lizzie looks more like a bunny, I would say. I'm looking at a picture now, but it is giving a prototype of a Labubu. I can see it. And again, take a look and let me know. But anyways, Kasing Lung was collaborating with renowned authors and winning illustration awards in the mid-2010s. And at this point, I would say he's gaining recognition in this niche world, right? Or a very specific industry. But it wasn't until 2015 that Kasing Lung, and I'm just going to call him Kasing because we're that close, okay? I hope. But it wasn't until 2015 that Kasing created the monsters, which are 4 creatures, one of which is the most famous, Labubus. And Labubus are actually supposed to be this kind-hearted girl who always wanted to help, but accidentally keeps doing bad things. Accidentally. 4 years later, in 2019, Kasing signs an exclusive partnership with Pop Mart to produce and distribute Labubus and her companions as collective figures. Now, I want you to remember the date or the year 2019, okay? Because the first celebrity unofficially credited to starting this whole Labubu craze is Lisa from Blackpink, which was in 2024. So that's 5 years. So Pop Mart has been making these toys and Kasing has been drawing these creatures for 5 years before anything happened. So I don't think I'm that far off by saying that he made it on a mainstream level at the age of 50. I would even say maybe 52 if I'm pushing it, because just this year, in May, the CEO of Pop Mart, Wang Ning, so the CEO, not Kasing, the creator of Labubu, the CEO who made this decision back in 2019 to invest in Labubus finally saw his investment pay off big time. Like, really big. Like, in just one day, the CEO of Pop Mart saw his net worth increase by 1.7 billion US dollars. Meanwhile, I'm over here hiring an Etsy witch to make me an icon ambassador so I can ski for free. And an icon pass is expensive, okay? It's like $1,000. But that's besides the point, okay? All this hype around Labubus has really just got me curious about how they suddenly blew up after being around for 10 years. And I think a lot of financial analysts are curious to understand why, although they probably have a different reason for understanding. But it's because year to date, which means since January 1st of 2025, January 1st of this year, Pop Mart's stock price is up 175%. That's crazy. Like just a regular Labubu that is $28, the ones that are around me right now, not even the secret Labubu, which has a 0.1% chance of you getting it, is going for $800 on eBay. That's the most I've seen. And everyone's been fighting for one. People are literally physically punching each other to get one. And there are government officials trying to ban Labubus because of just like how dangerous it is to get one. People are buying protective cases for it and making unboxing videos and then wearing them out like the doll itself is designer. They're buying designer outfits. Mine is wearing a Prada today. But they're buying designer outfits for them. I swear this is not what I do every day. It's even called a collectible, not a toy. Like, I think that's like unlocking a new level of status in the toy world. Like, collectibles are the first class, okay? And being called a toy is economy. As a toy, you get thrown around, maybe thrown up on, you are outside in the dirt, you get loved and cuddled with as well, but there's a lot of variation and risk. As a collectible, you're pristine. You're protected, you're never thrown up on, you're never brought into the dirt, you get your hair brushed, you have new outfits, designer outfits, you get washed, you get cared for. It's the full princess treatment. Okay, that's enough. Back to the significance of the surge in stock price for Pop Mart. A lot of analysts have been trying to find an explanation and tie it back to this concept called the lipstick effect. And I know I don't usually get intellectual like this, especially on the financial level, but we're going there today. I even wore my glasses for you to give me credibility. Wait, that's not actually the case. I just want to clear that up. That's not the case. My contacts have been really irritating my eyes, so hence the glasses. Hopefully, my background in finance for about 4 years should give me some credibility, though. So, what is the lipstick effect? The lipstick effect is what some would say is a leading recession indicator. Leading because it's an effect that happens before the recession, like a little hint at what we have to look forward to, but not really like look forward to because no one's ever like, yay, recession. It's more just like what is coming. And the indicator is when companies start to see consumers stop buying expensive, big things to save money. And instead, they buy little, affordable things like lipstick as a way to feel good. Like the world isn't on fire. Essentially, making small little purchases is our way of coping because we can no longer afford the things that are $5 signs. It's kind of like how I stopped eating out and stopped buying Reformation clothes or just buying new clothes in general, or another sweat set or sunglasses or shoes to save money. But I still go out and get that $7 matcha because it's more than the drink itself. Like it's part of my morning routine that helps me mentally get ready to start the day. And in the case of Labubus, it's not just about the toy or collectible. It's about the blind box experience. When you get even more joy from opening the box because you don't know which of the 6 figures you're going to get. Maybe it's your lucky day and you even get the secret one. And now that's worth like $10,000 on eBay or something crazy right now. And if experiences these days, like a concert or a music festival, range from about like $200 to $1,000 if you're thinking Coachella, because just the ticket itself is $600, and then you need gas and food and a place to stay. then I would say $28 for an experience is a steal. You're actually saving money. So that's the girl math. But back to the lipstick effect, I think it shows that success isn't just about hard work or talent. It's also about timing or luck. When Kasing and Pop Mart went into this exclusive partnership to make Labubu collectibles in 2019, what were we doing? Why didn't we know about Labubus? It's because we were headed into a pandemic. The world wasn't thinking about Labubus. We were thinking about face masks and hand sanitizer and Clorox and yeast for our focaccia. And then after the pandemic, we went crazy with the whole experience thing and traveling because we'd been trapped inside for so long until now when we're apparently headed into a recession. And I only say apparently because according to them, we've been headed towards a recession for quite a while now. And while I feel it in the job market, the S&P 500 is still going up and up and up. So it's confusing. But it wasn't until now, 10 years later, that Labubus popped off. And I'm about to go on a tangent, but just stick with me, it's worth it. What also came out of the pandemic? TikTok. TikTok became a huge competitor for these giant established tech companies like Meta and Snapchat and YouTube, who have been around for years. And a lot of influencers we know today blew up because of COVID, and they were on TikTok at that time when it was quote unquote new. John Summit, I had to bring him up. If you don't know him, I love his story because I feel like he's just like me. Not really, but really. He went from a top company in finance in the Big Four as an accountant to music. But music like he's a world famous DJ now, which I'm nowhere near. But I think his story is really relevant in this context. And I, again, just really love it because it makes me think that if he can do it, so can I. In 2019, again with the 2019, John Summit just quit his Big Four accounting job to pursue music. And apparently he said his mom cried like in a bad way when he told her he quit his high paying job in the Big Four to try to make it as a DJ. So he had to move back home to his mom's basement. And there he started to make YouTube tutorials on Tech House. And then during COVID, he was also DJing on Twitch. And eventually in 2020, he released what I think is the single that put him on the map, Deep End. Every day during COVID, he live streamed, he made music, he made YouTube tutorials in his mom's basement, and he grew such a big fan base that I think made him what he is today. So my point with TikTok, influencers, John Summit, Labubus is timing, which I would consider is a type of luck, is a key factor of success that we often overlook because it's not in our control. It's a bit of a double-edged sword. Like, you can't just wait for the right time before you start working because you don't know when the right time is. You have to be ready so that when the time comes, you're ready. And in the case of Kasing Lung, the creator of Labubus, he was ready for this moment. He was ready 10 years ago. He was ready 5 years ago. And the moment was something he probably couldn't anticipate or think of, which is the moment that we're all headed into a recession, searching for some brief, inexpensive relief from the crazy world we're living in to remind us to be a little more silly, a little more childish and happy. Someone famous, actually, I don't know if this person is famous, but someone once said, success is when preparation meets opportunity. And I 100% agree with that. Successful people are present when the opportunity appears, but not necessarily the most skilled. So I hope this takes a little bit of pressure off of you to strive for perfection, because remember that done is better than perfect. And life is a series of experiments. Sometimes some things work, some things flop, but every attempt teaches you something. And the point isn't to get it all right all the time, but it's to keep trying because the only way to get successful is by showing up and doing something even when times are confusing and the future is unknown. So, I hope you enjoyed my story time. I know it's a little different format, but we're experimenting. See what I did there? For the next week, I have a super spicy story, and I'm really excited for it. I feel like the clue I gave just kind of gave it away, but I'm still excited. If this episode resonated with you, it would mean so much if you liked, followed, subscribed, and all the things. If you know someone that would love this episode, please share it with them too. This is supposed to be a little corner of the internet where it's safe to feel chaotic and figure it out. And I'll be here every week doing just that. And it's a lot more fun when I get to hear from you.